Good morning. This is Todd Davis here at the Fourth and Bodark Church of Christ in Pecos, Texas, and coming to you today to try to answer one of the questions that was sent in. And so the question comes out of 2 Kings chapter 4, the story of Elisha. Now the wife of one of the sons of the prophets cried to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord. But the creditor has come to take my 2 children to be his slaves." And Elisha said to her, "What shall I do for you? Tell me what you have in the house." And she said, "Your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil." The question was, why would Elisha ask, "What do you have in your house?" Well, he was a man of God, for one thing, and so I suppose it could be speculated that maybe it had been revealed to him what she had in her house. But I think more than that is in play here. You see, the widow was in a bad spot. She and her family had worked pretty much according to her their whole lives to honor God and do what He said. And the wisdom of their day was very much like our wisdom today that said, if you honor God, if you trust God, if you follow God, God just wants to pour out His blessings on you. So you just have to sit back and receive, name it and claim it. But that clearly was not what was happening here. This lady said that she had worked her whole life. Now her husband was dead. He had served God faithfully, and they were to the point of destitution that literally her children were fixing to be taken as slaves. And she was focused on all the problems. But what Elisha said when he asked, "What do you have in your house?" is, hang on. Stop focusing on the problems and instead look for the blessings. Because as long as we have life and we have breath, we have the opportunity to honor God by seeing what He has done for us and what He has given us. The book of Job, chapter 1, we meet a man that it starts off, there was a man in the land of Uz, and this man was perfect and upright, one who followed God and eschewed evil. So by the Bible's own word, he was as good as they get. And yet, as you read through the chapter, within the space of the chapter, his life was turned upside down and it was ruined. His children were taken from him. His wealth was taken from him. His way of making money was taken from him. And by the end of chapter 2, even his own health was taken from him. His wife was saying, "Curse God and die." And yet Job's response was, "The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." You see, God is the one who bestows every good and perfect gift. And so in our way of looking at things with worldly eyes, when we have blessings, we must be in God's favor. But the heart of the matter is God blesses us whether we choose to see it or not. The question is, are we going to acknowledge God in even the difficult times and in even the tough times? Because it's in those times when we rely on God and when we cry out to Him because we have nothing left and no hope except God. It's in those times that God promises that if we draw near to Him, He will draw near to us. That when we seek Him, we will find Him, and our relief comes from God. So, in 2 Kings chapter 4, when Elisha asked, "What do you have at home?" she said, "All I have is this oil." He gave her a solution to the problem. Go get every container you can and fill it with oil, and then sell it, and you'll have enough to pay the debt. Sometimes it's the small blessings that we take for granted, and we don't see them as blessings. We see them as the mundane, ordinary bits of life that are the most sustaining when we allow God to use them. Today, I'd challenge you to open your eyes and look at what God's done. It's not the stack of money in your bank account or the number of digits in front of the decimal point. It's in your faith and your walk and your relationship with God. Look forward to visiting with you some more. If you have more questions, it doesn't matter if they're deep or if they're surface. It doesn't matter if they're silly or if they're all the way serious. Please send them in. We may or may not have the answers, but at least we can look at them together. Thank you. I hope God blesses you today.